Welcome to our first video of the year, and we are going to be working through our example problems that go along with our order of operations notes. So the first thing that we're going to do in this example is we need to start with any groupings. And so we do have a set of parentheses, and that means we need to do 4 minus 2 first, which is going to give us an answer of 2. We want to go ahead and write down the rest of the problem because we haven't done any of the other steps, and we don't want to forget all of the other operations that go along with this problem. So now we have both exponents and a cubed root. A cubed root is a radical. Those are a part of the same step as we learned when we were taking the notes together in class. And so we can actually go ahead and do both of these. So the cubed root of 64 means what number multiplied by itself 3 times gives me 64, and that answer is 4. Go ahead and write down the other parts around here that I haven't dealt with yet. And I'm going to go ahead and square the 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. Remember, with exponents, it's this base multiplied by itself that number of times. Next would be the multiplication. So we're going to do 3 times 4 to get 12. And it is going to still have a subtraction sign in front of it. That didn't go away. So now we're going to be adding and subtracting from left to right. So first we're going to add 20 plus 4 to get 24. Then we're going to subtract 12 from the 24 to get our final answer of 12. So that is the final answer for our first one, and that's why we want to circle it. In our next example, no groupings, but we do have exponents. So the first thing we're going to do is square the 2. So this is going to become 5 times 4 divided by 2 plus 8. I multiply before I divide because I always go from left to right. So 5 times 4 is 20. Now I can divide 20 by 2, and that gives me 10. And last, I would add 10 and 8 to get a final answer of 18. In the next two examples, I do have a grouping. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is 49 divided by 7. That's my starting point. However, numerators and denominators are also considered groupings. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply those two numbers together too and get 10. Now I am multiplying, and when I multiply fractions, I multiply straight across. Remember, 7 is the same thing as 7 over 1. So 7 times 60 is 420. An easy way to remember that is 7 times 6 is 42, and then add the 0 on the end. 1 times 10 is 10. And whenever I'm dividing by 10, it's pretty easy. If they both end in a 0, those are just going to fall off. And my final answer here is going to be 42. You also have use of a calculator if you need it for things like that. Last example, this one has a little bit more going on than the first 3 did. So I have multiple groupings, and I'm going to have to start with those before I move on to the exponents and things like that. And so sometimes, because a numerator and denominator is also a grouping in and of itself, sometimes it can be a little easier as we work through these problems to just work on simplifying the numerator, then go back and simplify the denominator, and then at the very end, look at the division there. So we're going to start with our numerator. So we are going to start with the top here. I'm not going to do anything with this exponent yet. But within this grouping, I would multiply before I subtract. So this will become 18 minus 15. So this is pretty much the first thing that I'm doing. Next, I'm going to continue simplifying this grouping here by subtracting the 18 minus 15 to get 3. And now that I have just a single number left, I don't need the parentheses anymore. Next would be the exponents. So 3 to the third means 3 times 3 times 3, which gives me a 27. And then lastly, we're going to continue over here. I can add those two together to get a numerator of 30. Now let's go back and talk about simplifying our denominator. So in the denominator, I have 2 groupings, and I'm going to start by simplifying each of them. And since they're 2 separate groupings, I can do a little bit in each one at the same time. So for this first one, the first thing that I would do is square the 4. So this would become 6 plus 16. Because 4 squared means that large base of 4 multiplied by itself 2 times. I can actually go ahead and add these two numbers together because they're in a separate grouping to just get 11. Now I need to continue to simplify inside this first grouping. So I'm going to do 6 plus 16 to get 22. Now both of the groupings are gone, both of the parentheses, and I can do the division. 22 divided by 11 is 2. So I'll put that over here too. There are a few more steps for the numerator. So my last step, numerators and denominators or fractions are another way of expressing division. So I can go ahead and do the division of 30 divided by 2, which gives me my final answer of 15. So those are all of your notes for the front side of the first page. And in the next video, you will find the notes for the evaluating expressions where you have to plug in the values for the variables first. So very similar, but one extra step to get the problem started.